Hey, it's Mega, aka the Art Messiah, here to save you from your art sins. Welcome back to day 28 of the 30 Days of Making Comics challenge. It's been a while since my last video, so we're gonna try to hop right back into it. So I only have 3 days left, and I want to kind of wrap that up. But previous few weeks have been pretty crazy, especially with everything going on right now and COVID-19, so hopefully everyone's staying safe and staying healthy. But yeah, hopefully you guys have some time to get to some drawing since you are stuck at home, and hopefully some of these videos can help you guys out. So today's video, I kind of wanted to talk about how to kind of make your art more interesting and how you kind of explain your art to others more interesting. Now, this is something that I personally am not very good at, so I wanted to go ahead and introduce this idea and concept so it's something we can all work on. And I wanted to wrap up this series about with basically how to grow an audience, talk about your artwork, and where to post your stuff online. So this is just going to be the first part in this little mini series, so we're gonna go ahead and kind of jump right into it. So if you're anything like me and you're into art, you'll probably relate to being like an introvert and not really being that outgoing per se and that sociable. So I'm sure it's probably difficult to put your art out there just like it is putting yourself out there, because at the end of the day, you're putting a piece of you out into the world, and you don't know how people are going to respond to that and how people are going to react to that. So I wanted to just take some time today and kind of talk about that specifically and how to kind of help overcome some of those fears and to kind of put your best foot forward and hopefully get very positive responses from people. But you'll never really know, and we're all at different stages in art, and people have all kinds of opinions, and art is very subjective anyway, so you don't know what kind of response you may get. So kind of jumping right into it, the first thing to kind of realize before you even start posting anything online and talking about your art is make sure you know what you want to do, what your inspirations and what your interests are, and really being true to yourself. So whether this be kind of writing down, making a list of, okay, one, like, why am I doing art in the first place? And two, like, what are my inspirations? What are the things that I look up to? And three, like, what are my interests? What kind of shows do I like? And what kind of media do I like to take in? What kind of story is it that I'm trying to tell? Is it action adventure? Is it about romance? Is it about mystery? Just really knowing what you want to put out there and knowing who you kind of want to become as an artist. So that's step number one, is to kind of know yourself and be true to yourself. And the way this kind of works with posting your stuff online and posting it out there is that you want to put a part of yourself in your art and in your story, and also in how you kind of talk about it and how you kind of describe your art and your story. So let people kind of see the process and the inspirations behind your art. So if you're posting a piece on Instagram, to make it more engaging, maybe say where this piece came from, how you came up with this based on your interests and your inspirations, and then kind of ask your audience, even if it's a small audience, ask them a question and just try to kind of build engagement, right? So the big part of, I guess, making your art interesting is really just making something relatable, something that other people can engage in, and you can kind of spark a conversation from there. Which leads me into my second point, which I guess I was kind of already talking about a little bit, but really tell the story of the creation of whatever piece that it is that you are working on. So, if you're working on, a story or an art piece, let people know why you're working on that specific art piece. Are you working on a character design? Are you working on trying different, outfits? Are you working on expressions? So really tell kind of like the story behind the art piece, like what it is that you're trying to work on, what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And that's a cool way to, start conversations and, ask senior artists about tips and tricks. And so I need to incorporate that more, but hopefully you guys kind of start to incorporate that. And then when people look at your artwork, then they'll be a little bit more open to giving some feedback and some suggestions, because they know what they're looking at and what you are trying to kind of get across. So kind of keep that in mind. Try to tell a story of the creation of your piece. And the last thing that I was able to come up with for right now is try to make your art relatable to other people. So obviously you're going to be true to yourself. You're going to create pieces that you want to see, based on your inspirations. But try to see how other people may respond to that artwork and what that can kind of mean to them in a sense. So try to make it as, I guess, relatable as possible, where it's like, okay, if the story is trying to say, a certain kind of experience, try to make that experience something you've gone through, or an experience that, a lot of people have gone through. And then that way when people, either see a specific piece or see this kind of narrative, they're going to be able to understand it a little bit better because they have some familiarity with it. So that's kind of my third and final tip. But I think the biggest thing to get over in order to, I guess, make your art more interesting is to truly be really excited about your own work. And if you are excited about your work, then other people can get excited about your work. But if you're sharing your work and you're talking about your work, but you're not very excited about it, then that's going to also kind of bleed into other people's perceptions. So if you can't be excited about your work, I don't think anybody can really get excited about your work, because you're the one that's creating it. So that can be really difficult to put yourself out there and put all this energy into it and put all this excitement into it. And it's scary because you don't know what the response is going to be. But if you want to start building an audience, you kind of have to put yourself out there and kind of just face that, those critiques and those comments and everything, which will be scary. But there's also plenty of really cool people online and in person and at conventions and everywhere. So just remind yourself of that. Just remind yourself that there are great people out there. I've met a lot of cool people on Instagram. I've met a lot of cool people on the comic making sites that I'm on, Comic Fury, even fellow YouTubers out there. Shout out to Blue Dragon and Contenta. They've been pretty cool and keeping up with my content, and I try to return the favor. But anyways, all that being said is you've got to put yourself out there if you want to start to build an audience. Now, if you're just starting out and you're not really worried about an audience, that's fine. You don't have to put your artwork out there, but it can also be a good reminder and also a way to see your progress. So, maybe you're not posting on Instagram yet and you just have a Tumblr or Twitter and you're posting your sketches. that's fine. People aren't necessarily expecting finished pieces there, but as long as you're putting yourself out there and you're kind of improving and kind of taking in people's feedback and your own feedback, and just trying to create a positive environment around your work, I think you'll be pretty successful at it. So let me know if any of that was helpful. Leave a comment in the comment section down below if it was. And until next time, we got 2 more videos left. We're going to be talking about actually growing an audience, like what social media to be on, and then last but not least, we're going to be talking about where to post our comics. So there's so many sites now. That will be an exciting conversation to have, so stick around for that. And until next time, deuces, y'all.